when I decided to have bands in the house, I was like, okay, I can't convince big bands to come in the house. I can convince my friends who I've known over the years, but at some point that's going to run out. So I thought, I really want to get the Cult to play here. I want to get, Behemoth. I want to get Against Me because I loved Against Me's old early DIY videos. And they were very inspirational to me in terms of how to do it. So I go to Coachella one day, and you slide an artist pass off of somebody, and I slipped it on my arm. I went backstage, and I see the fucking Cult play. So I wait side stage, and Ian comes off, and he knew me from Toronto. So, and I have such mad love for the Cult that he's like, hey, Strombo. I'm like, Ian, hey, what are you doing? He's like, oh, we're coming up to Canada. I said, yo, man, you need to play a concert in my living room, right? He said, fuck, we'd love to. And that was it. Then I left, and I went, cool, fuck. How do I even do that?
Yes. I love how you're still doing that, too.
Right. So this is like, I'm like, fuck, how do I even do that? But I also knew that I knew how to make a music show. But what I didn't have a team who had ever worked on much music. They didn't know that. So what we did is I came home and I said, okay, let's book a bunch of bands and you're all going to learn. Because the Cult's going to do this. Now, this was like a year had passed. We'd done a whole bunch of bands. I hadn't sort of forgot that Ian had said that. I get this random fucking text message going, yo, dude. And it's from a friend of mine who ran this label in Canada. I said, oh, hey, what's up? He's like, oh, we just signed the Cult. I said, cool. Ian said the only thing he wants to do is play your living room.
Yes.
I was like, oh, cool. All right, so let's book it. So we booked it. Then I interview Nurgle from Behemoth. He comes to do an interview at the house, and I said to him,
I love that one.
You should play my house. And he's like, oh, yeah, sure, maybe one day. But he later told me he wasn't going to do it. So that's fine. Lots of people say yes, and they don't really back it up. That's cool. Yeah. Then I bump into, so then the Cult comes, plays. We tried to book the Kills. The Kills people said no, but we invited them to the Cult show because the Cult played. At the end of it, the Kills people went, oh, we're fucking totally doing this. Then the Kills did it. Then I was randomly in LA and I get a message from Brian Slagle, who runs Metal Blade Records. Of course, he had Metallica on the comp. And he's like, and I didn't know him personally, but we knew each other via social because he loved hockey and he knew I loved metal and all that. So I go to this dinner and fucking Nurgle is right there. And I was like, hey, bro, you came and did my house. You did an interview. He's like, oh, yeah. He goes, wait a minute. That Cult concert. I saw it. I love the Cult. We want to do that.
Ah, nice.
Dude, come on in.
Everything connects.
Totally. But even in my 40s, having done it for a long time and having a pretty good run, I still go that way. You still have to, because the media is a strange thing, right? And at the end of the day, you got to do all the work yourself and your team have to do the work, and you still might not get the shot. But at least you'll have had a good time.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is really important. I looked around and fucking the Cults are playing She Sells Sanctuary in my living room. And I'm just like, boss.
Yeah.
And I reached out to some friends from high school who I haven't seen since high school. And on Facebook went, yo, remember when we used to talk about the Cult a lot? They'd be like, totally. And I said, come to my house. Here's the address tomorrow at noon. So my friends who I haven't seen for fucking decades, hey, what's up? Thanks for the invite. And fucking Ian Asprey walks in.
Oh, that's beautiful.
That shit makes me happy, man.
Yeah, that made my heart warm so much that you even remembered kind of the people who've influenced that music on your life and shit like that, and just
every show we did. Yeah. Every show we did had somebody who I remembered loved this. Because what is the point? Like I said off the top, what is the point of having these ball-in opportunities if you don't look at them not as yours, but as the thing to share? Yeah. Most of my career is I've been in a good spot because the things that I have been given, I don't hang on to. They're not mine. They're not yours. The benefits you get, all the shit that we want from being in the public eye, you're going to get them anyway. But the thing that they're gifting you is not yours. Yeah. Pass it on.
Yeah, it's true. And even as I think of your whole career and even what I loved about the Hour and Loud, I can go on and on. But what you're doing is just sharing dope shit and stories of people. And I'm learning on a very smaller level that I'm getting so much, inner joy out of giving to people these experiences It's a beautiful thing, man. It's cool to hear like yourself.
That line, you know that line, service never slumps. So no matter what you're going through, provided you are capable of getting up and going outside. Some people can't, and that's okay. But to be in service of others never slumps. Your time will come. You will get the bounce. You might not get the bounce for fucking years, but in that time, if you are out there in service of others or of something, connecting, then you're filling up the time with good shit, and you're helping people, and you're not doing it for you. You're doing it because it's your fucking duty. Mm-hmm. And then when the bounce comes your way, all these skills you've built up, not even knowing you were building up skills, are going to be the thing that helps you get to that next step.
Yeah, definitely. I also think there's like a lot of power in just being genuine and just having really good intentions. Like it bleeds off into the segments too. Like to use your House of Strombo as an example too. It's funny to hear that you said like your filming team didn't know what they were doing at first, but me as a filmer, like I commend those shows because I see a lot of like live concerts like on video and it doesn't have the energy. But all of like your segments, it feels like I'm in your kitchen, in your living room, in your basement.
And that's, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like you have these intentions you want to push out before you even start editing and stuff where
when I could have told the team how to do it. And I did. Said, here's what I want, right? But I want, because I also cared about, my fam, all right, my team. And I wanted them, I knew their careers would be better if they could learn this the right way, meaning reps. You just got to get reps, right? And watching them, and especially because a lot of the cats that I worked with that I had hired, in fact, all of them, they just didn't get, metal and punk wasn't their thing, right? They were either into hip hop, R&B, synth pop, or,
yeah. And you showcased a lot of that as well too on the show.
Yeah, we did for sure. Yeah. And well, you know why? Because I like a lot of those artists, but also we like the guys on our team and women on our team who liked, guys who haven't shaved in 4 days, who play guitar about how much they miss you, that kind of stuff. So we because that was also what was, I couldn't convince big metal bands to come to the house to play a show yet because we weren't ready, right? We weren't ready to do that. So when the team learned it, it almost worked out perfectly that we got Behemoth. Because I remember saying to them, okay, so I want to build inverted crosses inside, and I want inverted crosses outside on the house. And I want the lights to be off. Yes. And then I want and then everybody who comes in the house has to wear corpse paint. But by this point, nobody on my team thought I was talking crazy shit. They were just like, that's fucking George. All right. So I wouldn't let anybody in without corpse paint, right?
Yeah.
Even me, the crew, everybody corpse paint. And so it's fucking hilarious to me because there's this, and I knew that the director was a guy called Harbinder, who's my bro, and he grew up in the same neighborhood as me. He was a shooter on Hockey Night in Canada, but also he shot the big jib camera on my talk show. And then when we had an opening for a director, I said, you're the guy. And he hadn't directed at that level. I'm like, you're the guy. You're the guy. You come up with me, right? We do this together. And he's like, cool. And then I said, okay, so I got this show, this metal show. And I knew he didn't know the music, right? But I knew he was a great shooter. And I also wanted a couple people on the team who didn't fully know the history of the band because I wanted to see what they would catch. Surprisingly, because if you know it, you know what you're looking for, right?
Yeah. You're like, okay, this solo's coming up or whatever, but you can catch like people or whatever. Yeah, it's
totally. So he sits up, right? He's got this. He's sitting beside me here. The other guy that he brought on board, and I think they'd started a business together earlier, shooting weddings when they were young, right?
Amazing.
And they got the camera, and he's got a roaming camera which spins, right? And so, my curtains be projected on these hell flames. Little bit of fog machine going in the house. And then all you hear is this drone Behemoth, it's the Satan, right? Which is the best one. And then the band comes up the stairs from my basement and they're wearing all that stuff and the fucking makeup and the hats and shit. And they look super badass. But my shooters are mega pro, so they're like this, right? They're ready to shoot. They're ready to shoot. And then you hear this like, Behemoth is about loneliness and all this stuff. And they're just like, they're in the pocket. But they don't know what blackened death metal sounds like.
Amazing.
This moment where I just said to them, I said, okay, when the guitars hit, because I knew the song, the singer's going to start singing right away. And just be there for that. And I swear to God, dude, it was like one of the moments, because it might have been my favorite moment of my career in this 40 minutes in my house, because and then Norgle's like starts screaming, and the fucking camera operator's right there on his face, and he just looks at me like this. He goes, "Fuck!" And the other shooter beside me, Harb, who's directing it, is standing up top, and Harb just looks at me and he just goes.
That must have been even more fun than watching the band, seeing the reactions.
Oh, because I knew too that we hadn't even unveiled the inverted cross, and the band didn't know. So we built this big satanic cross above their head, and like 2/3 of the way through the show is where's my actual career highlight. So I'm sitting on the subwoofer in my living room, and I'm just sitting there, and the band has been fucking brutalizing our ears with this music for 35 minutes, whatever, or 29 minutes. It's just fucking so metal, and I'm so into it. And everybody's blown away because you never get to see a band like this.
Yeah, especially in a basement too.
Yeah, totally. It was actually my living room and kitchen. So my living room and kitchen, and there's this moment where the song breaks down, and Nurgle just says, and you should go watch this. It's like 29 something. Nurgle says, "All right, Toronto, Legions of Toronto."
All right, Legions of Toronto. It was a great fucking privilege to play for you today. We are Behemoth from Poland, and we shall return. You'll stay strong.
And then he just yells, "Hail Satan!" Sean, I was just sitting there like this, and I just went, "This is it." Like I knew it. I knew it that I'll never have this moment again. The band kicks in. The camera operators catch them in full fucking synchronicity, and then the smoke machines blow up, and then the red cross built in my ceiling lights up upside down, and the flames, and I'm just looking at all this going, I don't believe in an afterlife, but if there is one, I just hit it.